Oh, got it. Okay. Okay, just to let you all know that this meeting is being recorded and is going to be live streamed on YouTube. We need to agree the meeting held on the 30th of March, and I've had some queries that have come up. I'd like to go through them with you. If we go to the first page, which would be item 2, Councillor Mrs. Christine Mason brought up an issue with regard to the dating of original reporting. Now, I've actually spoken to Jeff about this. It's something that he will do in future to make sure that this is on. There's a bit of a misunderstanding and a misinterpretation on this, because it should have been done this time. But basically, when we go to the headings of each item, there will be a date on there when it was originally reported, so we can actually get a good idea what's been done and what hasn't been done and the time differential. I hope that's fine with you, Christine.
Yes, thank you, Ian. That's exactly what was anticipated.
Thank you.
Last November, thank you.
Lovely. Okay, and I think there's another item that was missed off, and if we can go down on the minutes, I believe this will be page 3 on your minutes, and this refers to Hawkwell, and it will be Rectory Road. There was an item on there that was brought up that should have been on the panel. There should be 2 items in regards to Rectory Road. Can you just expand the second item, please, Christine?
Yes, certainly. The second item is really as minuted. It is nowhere near the first item. It's probably it's by Clements Gate for people that know the area. Works, as the minute said, have been carried out in that area, which apparently resolved the issue. However, the problem has returned, and it's still there as of last night. The issue is still there, so we need that on the regular updates.
Okay, that's lovely.
Back 12 years, it's not been resolved, even though work was carried out. Okay, thank you, Ian.
Okay, yeah, if that can be actioned and put on, and can we also make sure that is checked and ongoing, please? Thank you. And also, I did mention to Jeff that there was a report on the main agenda, which isn't there, which is Hawkwell Brook report, which isn't there. And I believe you mentioned it was sent out previously. Am I correct on this, Jeff?
Yes, yeah. We've there were a number of related issues which have been recorded sort of individually, but in fact they're all linked to Hawkwell Brook. Okay. So there was a separate report done relating to Hawkwell Brook, which was circulated with previous minutes. Certainly, if anybody wants to have another look at that and sort of what I found there, I'm happy to send them a copy.
If you wouldn't mind circulating that to the group as a whole, please, so that they can have a look at that report. Generally.
Yeah, I'll work with Veronica, and we can get that circulated with the minutes.
Right, I've got Mike. You want to come back? You want to come in on something here? You're clear to speak, Mike.
Oh, sorry. Yes, a couple of items to pick up from the minutes.
Yep.
Under Rochford, Sutton Road. With regards to the findings of the survey that was referred to in the minutes there, I've still not received anything on that.
Okay.
So please, can I have that organised? The Hall Road development there, the sluice gate flap that is missing where the culvert goes underneath Ironwell Lane into the River Roach.
Yeah.
And I am still trying to identify, and I've had no response from, certainly from county, as to who is responsible for that sluice gate, because the flap is missing and the river can backfeed up through the culvert. So again, I'm still waiting for that information to come through.
Are we trying to identify responsibility for it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay, Jeff, can you try and do a bit of investigative work to try and find out a deep dive as to who is actually responsible for it?
Oops. Yes, I can. I can sort of look into that.
Thank you. Okay.
And a couple of others there. High Street Great Wakering. Again, we've been waiting for some sort of survey or investigation, it says here, to be carried out. Still not had any information back on that.
Who is the responsible authority for it, Mike?
That is, I believe, be Highways.
Okay. So again, sorry, Jeff, if you can look into that to see if that work is due to be carried out. Is there a schedule on it?
So is this sorry? Is this relating
It's
to
High Street,
the
right? This is
flooding in the High Street?
That's High Street Great Wakering, yes.
Yeah. The I can comment on that. The Highways have checked all their assets. They're fine. The link seems to be where it drains from the highways, sort of underneath the recreation ground there, and comes out into a sort of ditch at the far side. And
Yeah.
I've been working with the landowners of that ditch to get that clear to help the flow, because that seems to be what's holding it back from and flooding back onto the highways. So the landowners have assured me that they will do some ditch maintenance work, and I'll sort of check with them to see. They weren't able to do that, even start thinking about that until we came into September. But obviously, we're now into November, so I will check with them on progress.
Please, if you wouldn't mind. Is there anything else?
Yeah, with regards to Pointers Lane or Wakering Road junction, there was discussion because they were going to do some highways improvements there, and it was hopeful that that would include some work around the ditches. That has not been the case. The improvements have been fairly minor and have not picked up on that particular point. So that is still an ongoing issue with the ditches there.
If you can take that one on board, please, Jeff, to get the responsible people to get those cleared, please.
And finally, but no means least, and I will be declaring interest on this when you get to the point, the Kimberley Road, the grill there appears to be responsibility of Rochford District Council. Again, we've had no confirmation as to who needs to pick up with the maintenance of that.
Yeah, if you can check that one, who is responsible, please, Jeff?
Yeah, that was sort of very uncertain who was actually responsible, but in the past the council have sort of taken action about that. So I'll
yeah, well,
do the same again.
Well, obviously we're the people of last resort, so if you can make sure that we're doing something. I've got Christine's hand up, but I just want to, if you can just bear with me a moment, Christine. Joe, is it anything related to the area that we have been talking about, please?
Yes, just to say, when we cover the High Street Great Wakering in the formal document, there are actually two locations. The location that Councillor Steptoe is talking about is slightly different to the one that Jeff Stacey just referred to around the ditch maintenance, but we'll cover them in the full papers and it become clear. Thank you. Okay,
thank you very much indeed, Joe. Christine, can I come to you now, please?
I think I'm slightly out of date now. I'm just going to say regarding the Hawkwell Brook report, it would be helpful if in future if we have got a reference to a separate report that is circulated at the same time, because not everyone retains documentation. But thank you for that. So no problem.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so is everybody happy with what we've got in the minutes, and those can be agreed and signed? Can I see an indication, please?
Agreed.
Yeah, with the alterations, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Yes, agreed.
Yep. Lovely. Thank you very much, all of you. Now, declarations of interest, please. members, if I just go through, Mike, I'll just take you on the screen as you are. Mike, any?
Thank you. Yes, as Essex County Councillor, also as Barling Magna Parish Councillor, and also I need to declare that the stream that arrives at the bottom of Kimberley Road that we were just talking about, ultimately upstream, does run through my garden.
Okay, what fun. Joe, if I can take you, please.
I have no declaration and my hand's down.
Yeah. Have you? Okay, Christine.
Yes, thank you. Just in case it does come up, Hawkwell Brook runs behind my property. I'm not sure that it's something we're discussing today, but just in case we stray into that area, obviously I have a direct pecuniary interest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Joe, any declarations at all?
No, you've asked for declarations.
No,
I think
okay.
any who have any will put up their hands. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Lorraine?
Yeah, I'm also an Essex County Councillor. I'm Deputy Cabinet for Highways Maintenance.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, just Raleigh Town Council. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Stuart?
None for me, thank you.
Okay, and for myself, it's Raleigh Town Council, and as a non-pecuniary and a pecuniary interest in Rochford 100 Golf Club. And that's me done. If anything comes up during the meeting, please shout out if you think you've suddenly discovered an interest. Okay, moving on, let's move over to item 4, which is a review of what is going on. Okay, Jeff, it's over to you to go through these, and I will watch out for any hands that have come up, and I'll stop you for questions. Okay, away you go, Jeff.
Okay. First, just to sort of make everybody aware, we will have somebody from the Environment Agency joining us later. Unfortunately, they had a sort of clash for the beginning of the meeting. But if there are any questions that relate to the Environment Agency, Roger Webster will be joining us later in the meeting. Yeah, sort of please ask your questions then. Essex Highways, they are unable to attend the meeting, but they have given me some notes and sort of comments, which I will bring in as we sort of go through here.
Can I just make a note, please? I'm not happy with Essex Highways not attending. Richard Baranowski always used to attend or send someone in his stead, and just to send notes on some of these things, because there are often follow-up questions that members want to ask. So would you just please make a point that I'm not particularly happy about him coming, not coming, and the simple fact, when it was live, he always used to be here. Now it seems to be more convenient and online. He can't seem to be bothered. You know, I think this should be an item that he needs to take note of, and him or one of his deputies should be here at least to answer questions, relevant questions.
Yeah, I'll certainly pass that on. I mean, to be fair to Richard, he's very supportive.
I know he is.
But the decision not to attend has been taken sort of further up the management chain. But certainly we can feed that back.
Okay, can I ask Essex County councillors who are sitting here to inquire who that up the chain person is, please?
Hi, sure.
Hi, Ian. I did actually send, because I thought Simon was going to be on the this meeting. I did send him the actual reply from Essex Highways. So I do apologise. I didn't send it out. I don't think I sent it to Jeff, but I did send it to Simon. And if I can find it, I'll whiz it over to you now. Okay.
Ariel, you came on. I'm not certain if I know who you are.
Hi, yeah, my name's Ariel. I'm just sitting in for Glenn Shaw today because he wasn't able to attend on the LLFA. Essex
Okay, thank you.
Council. So
Okay.
I'm quite new, but I'll take any notes back to Glenn that I've raised.
Okay. Are you able to share the screen at all, Jeff, or are you having problems, or maybe Veronica can share her screen with the item 4, so as we go down it, or has everybody got that item 4 in front of them? If you've got any problems and you're okay, we're just leaving it as it is, I'm happy to carry on because I've got it in front of me. We okay, everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all. Okay, so let's start off. Ashington.
Yeah, no particular update on that. The comment from the Essex Highways is that basically the situation is unchanged for them. If there is further evidence of flooding, please let them know, and then they can sort of help build that case for any work that needs doing. But at the moment, there's nothing planned.
Okay, that's the Lower Road, Ashington Road. Braze Lane.
Braze Lane. Yes, that was being looked into by the Essex County Council watercourse regulation engineer. And in fact, that was Glenn, who's been unable to join us. I've heard nothing further on that one. I don't know if there's anybody's aware of any further problems.
Ariel.
Certainly, there was no issues when they did do a visit.
Ariel, have you got anything on that at all, please? Are you there, Ariel? Oh, well.
Sorry, I was on mute. No update. Glenn didn't provide me with an update on that, so I assume no news is good news.
I wouldn't assume anything like that at all. Okay, if you could just take that one back just to give a nod, because we like to see an action to come back. So please give Glenn, a nudge to come back to Jeff on this one. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check with them, see if there is any further action. But certainly, as sort of reported there, they did visit the site and didn't find any evidence of sort of filling in a ditch by the developer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure there's, unless there's any further reports of flooding that we can follow up on, I'm not sure we can go much further with that one.
Okay, that's fair enough, Jeff. Moon's Close to Highcliffe Crescent.
Yes, that one seems to sort of be bouncing around in terms of whose fault it is, but Essex Highways have a sort of checked their assets and feel that it's Anglian Water. Anglian Water unfortunately haven't joined us in the meeting, so I think we'll have to chase them after the meeting for a comment on their assets, because certainly that seems to be where the problem lies.
Yeah, again, it's the same story. We need to get everybody in the same room at the same time, and I would be obliged if we can try and get people from Anglian in the room. It's not a big deal, just to come in, turn up for 2 hours, try and get it together, to send someone along who can just take responsibility for what they are doing. That would be most helpful. If you can send something to them, we'd be much obliged if they would be helpful as far as that's concerned.
Yes, I mean, normally David Lloyd, who's our contact there.
Yes, yeah.
Is helpful, but obviously he's not joined us at the meeting today.
Yeah, it would be, I mean, this is the whole point of this meeting, is that, supplementary questions, can come up, and it's good to get the answers there and then, rather than going backwards and forwards. It's pretty pointless, to be honest. If we can move on to 621 Ashington Road, please.
Yes, Highways comment there. Obviously, they've done some work in that area. they've received no further comments of issues there, and I've not picked up on anything. So unless anybody is aware of any issues still existing there, really that we're sort of archiving that one, so to speak.
Okay. Moving on to Battlesbridge.
Yes, there were some issues sort of reported there, but Highways were sort of not aware of any particular issues, and basically are asking for sort of reports and evidence of any issues there, to which so far they've not received anything. Whether that might change over the coming season, but our request basically is if there are issues, if they can be reported, let's have some details, photographs if possible, and they can then go up to Highways.
Just a matter of interest, Chris, was this one of yours to report in, because it's out towards your area, isn't it?
Yes, it is, Ian, and you're quite right what you've just commented on representatives from the utilities. Battlesbridge at the moment is okay, apart from the lock gates at the end of Rochford Brook, where it runs into the Crouch. I think there is some confusion there as to whether the gates are open or closed at times when we've got at the moment. I know it sounds silly, Ian, and it really, really does. But when you're in Rochford and you see that water come up, it's quite phenomenal. But anyway, there is some. I need, if we could, or if I could be told, or the residents could be told when the gates are, if the gates are permanently open, or what is happening, because they've got no idea. They have to keep going down there to see if the gates are open to let the water out, basically.
Who's supposed to be managing those gates?
I think it's the well, I don't know his name exactly, but I believe it's the ownership of the people that on that area that they control the gates. I don't know if it's. I've had a word with Roger Webster about it, and he considers it that there isn't any problem at all. But
okay, fine. Look, maybe just so we can sort of firmly establish who does what, where, and how. Jeff, if you can try and establish who monitors the gates, who opens them, who closes them, or who is supposed to open and close them, then we can get something a wee bit more definitive on that one, Jeff, and then we can move on to Canute.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it may be that when Roger Webster joins us later in the meeting, he may be able to answer that one. Okay,
that's good. Okay, Canute, I think this is part of Laureen's backyard.
Yeah. Canute, I did follow up with the sort of parish council, because we didn't have a sort of location details for the issue. But when I did update with them, they said that the work had they confirmed the work had been completed, and there's not an issue at the moment sort of on that one.
Yeah, that's correct, Ian.
Great. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Laureen. Canute, Gardeners Lane.
Yeah, again, I popped out and had a look at that, had a chat with the sort of parish council there, just to sort of try and understand that. I noticed when I did the visit that a lot of ditch maintenance had been carried out by the landowner. I think pragmatically, what I've suggested to the parish council is, if the problem reoccurs with flooding of the road there, it just seems to be a question of sort of digging a sort of ditch way from the just a small channel from the road into the ditches, which have now all been cleared, would sort of clear water from that road. So really, we're sort of waiting to see whether a problem reoccurs, and whether somebody just sort of going down there with a spade to link in the road to those ditches.
Okay, so it's the parish council. So we put it onto the parish council, in a pragmatic way to look after their area. Is that about right? Does that sum that up?
Yes, I think that does.
Okay, good stuff. Pagglesham.
Pardon me.
Sorry.
Yes, and sorry, I haven't apologized. For some reason the Zoom is not picking up my camera, so it's not that I'm shy or anything. It's just
No,
a technical issue there.
No, it's all right.
Yes, certainly the plough and sale. Obviously, this is a long-term ongoing issue. I have got some comments from Essex Highways on the surface water alleviation scheme.
Mm-hmm.
They are attending on a regular basis. Last attended on the 13th of the 7th and the 14th of the 10th. This was raised, they've raised this with Anglian Water, discussing the possibility that they may be able to connect to an existing Anglian Water infrastructure in the area, although not the foul sewer. The design team were therefore commissioned to review the existing design based on the potential of this new information. However, on closer scrutiny, the design team and Anglian Water were unable to come up with anything new. So this scheme is now awaiting further design work.
Okay. If you can just keep an eye on that, I know Mike has got his eyes on this and has. I think he bought this one up. What about 8 years ago?
It was Terry Cutmore.
Yeah, I only stepped in because of the sad loss of Terry.
Yeah.
But yes, it is Lorraine's division, and Lorraine's in place. I don't have anything further.
No, fine. No, thank you. Acton Hall Road.
Acton Hall Road. Yes, the sort of landowner has. I sort of followed up on this one to see what was happening, and it has been resolved with a new pipe at the front of the property to replace the filled-in ditch, and there has been some maintenance work by the landowner, and that all seems to be working. So we're no further action sort of planned on that one.
Okay, just quickly, just a note on the bottom where you've got lead agency. You've got nothing on that one. And Lorraine, please.
Just to let you know, I went down that way today just to see what the road was like, and it was absolutely clear.
Fantastic, thank you. Steve, Jeff, if you can make sure that we have the lead agency noted on there, whoever they may be. So if it's residents, riparian owner, whatever, if you can make sure that's on there so we know.
Yeah, I can certainly reflect that for future reference. So that should there be an issue that comes up again, we know who we should be talking to.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah,
yes,
happy with that.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Hawkwell, I think this is your backyard, Christine.
Yes, I'm waiting with bated breath.
Yes, okay. Clements Hall Way.
Yes, that's one of the ones that there seem to be a number of issues along the sort of Hawkwell Brook catchment, which I've sort of captured in the report there. Mm-hmm. In terms of what action we can take on that, I mean, really, it's sort of waiting until we get somebody in post who is more of a sort of engineer, drainage engineer, and knows something more about this. Having identified what some of the issues are, I must admit it's not within my sort of knowledge or remit to sort of take this on further. We're really sort of waiting until somebody is in post who can sort of pick this up and try and run with it.
Okay, can you just hold on a second then, Jeff? Andrew, I don't want to dump you in this one, but obviously I believe we do have somebody who will be joining us that will be mutually part of the one team from both Brentwood and Rochford, who will be a specialist in this way. If you confirm that, please.
I don't know.
You don't know as yet. Okay.
No,
all right.
But I will take that back and make some inquiries.
Thank you, because I mean Jeff is actually stating that we're looking at an experienced engineer who will be working across both the borough and the district. So that will be very useful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, certainly at this stage, I mean, that's literally sort of hot off the press. The proposal was only agreed a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So there is a long way to go on this, and in the meantime, I will sort of continue to do what I can. But taking on something which in effect is a sort of major project wouldn't be sensible for me to start. A, because it's not my area of knowledge, and B, I certainly wouldn't be able to make any significant progress before we brought in somebody who would be better qualified to sort of deal with that.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
But at the moment, yes, we're drawing up sort of proposals for a new post, and that will go forward in due course.
Yeah, if we can make sure that that's hurried along.
Yes.
Holyoke Lane.
Yes, made some inquiries on that. Yes, it's sort of private ownership. Certainly, we haven't had any sort of further reports of flooding, but our response would be that it's down to the local landowners in terms of sort of maintenance of local systems.
Christine, would you like to add to that, please?
Well, actually, I wanted to come in on Elmwood Avenue because that is an RDC responsibility, and the concern there is the culvert goes underground at that point, and what happened at the time was because the grid got blocked and the culvert got blocked. Properties further down the road, actually in Hawkwell Chase, were flooded quite severely, and I'm not sure if Elmwood Avenue, I think one or two in Elmwood Avenue were as well when they opened their doors, unfortunately. But so it definitely needs to be kept clear. And at that time, it was deemed to be an RDC responsibility. So regardless of any report, it's something that we have a duty, I think, to ensure that where it's a ditch that goes from Belchamps, which takes the water, and then it goes underground. And it's at that point that there is an issue. And I think that should be looked at in view of the weather reports that we have now and the potential risk to property. I think that should be looked at by RDC as a matter of urgency.
Jeff, if you can put that on the list to go to Adam Aldridge, because I know I've already spoken to him this morning about Nobles Green ditch, which is part of the Roach, looking at the maintenance, and apparently they're having to look to Essex County Council because of the changes in highways and ranges and all the rest of it for permission and insurance, which I'm not too sure about, but he brought that up. So we want that squared away as soon as possible. So if you can put that one on the list, please, Jeff, to look at maintenance on that area. If that is ours, then we need to do it.
At the time, Ian, just for Jeff's information, there's a gate to that, so the residents can't actually access it. But a key was given to the resident, who has unfortunately since moved. So I'm not sure what the current situation is.
Okay, Jeff, if you can take note of that, it's a locked gate without an opening. Chris, you've got your hand up.
Yes, please, Ian. Could we ask Jeff to reaffirm to the right parent owners that it is their responsibility to clear the ditches, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a standard, but we will make sure that where feasible, where possible, they are there to keep their areas as clean as possible to allow the water flow. I agree with you, Chris, absolutely. Thank you. And Christine, anything more?
I can just say that as I've had no recent reports of the surface water on Holyoke Lane. It was at the junction of Mount Bovers and Woodside Chase. So I'm hoping that Jeff's right and that one's cleared. And do you want me to speak to Rectory Road, or I might as well that.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've got this one coming up. Rectory Road is coming, so if you want to speak to that, and then maybe Jeff can come back straight after.
Yeah, Rectory Road. Well, I can't comment on the low-lying area under the railway bridge, although that's historic. It's been like that for about 50 years. But the one that's been missed out is the one by Clements Gate, and that is a potential difficulty that's been reported way back with Richard Tatton Bennett. It's over 12 years old, and despite work having been carried out, it's still not resolved. So that needs to go back on there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you can put that back on the agenda, Veronica, that's Clements Gate and the surrounding area.
Sorry, Ian, if I can just clarify, it is actually Rectory Road, but it's adjacent to the old entrance to what then was the Christmas Tree Farm.
Yeah. Okay.
That locates it.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Christine. Thank you. Okay. Anything to add on Rectory Road, Jeff, before we move to Belchamps?
A comment from Highways. The cyclical. There's a crew that goes round on a cyclical basis. And now they tried to attend on the last time was the 25th of March 22nd, but they were unable to access. There's a lot of difficulty obviously there with traffic management and things. So it is on their route for cyclical maintenance, but they do have difficulty with traffic management there.
Can we get an idea of what the difficulty is? Is it just weight of traffic?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just the volume of traffic there, but I can certainly ask for more details from
Christine, do you
Highways.
want to enlighten us a bit more on this area?
Well, the Clements one by Clements Gate in Rectory Road.
No, this is where it goes underneath the railway bridge.
I can't enlighten you with that, other than to say that it's been the same situation.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, and I've lived here all my life, so I've never seen any different.
Okay, thank you. So we need to try and see if some action can be taken, and if it's an inconvenient scheme, a traffic management scheme, as long as people are aware of what they're doing and that they carry it out quite quickly. I'm just going to hope for the support of our county colleagues who are sitting here to try and get how can I put it, a little bit of dynamite underneath them, so to speak. Belchamps, anything on that at all, Jeff?
No, some time ago I did a visit there to sort of have a look on how the whole thing sort of works out, and it is all part of this Hawkwell, the whole Hawkwell Brook, and there are a number of issues along the length of the Hawkwell Brook which contribute to difficulties there. Yes, there is. If we're some future stage can look at a bigger project, there are possible contributions that the Belchamps could make to improving the flood resilience within Hawkwell Brook. But as I say, it needs a greater level of expertise than I have to put that sort of project into place.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. If we can move to Hockley now, Cornhill Avenue.
Yes, I mean, as the latest information is there on the sheet. Earlier this year, there was a site visit that was sort of unable to sort of identify a definitive cause. It needed a professional investigation, which has been arranged. I don't know if that's taken place yet, but we're certainly still awaiting the report. Last update I had on that was in September.
Okay, but it's us who are the lead agency on that item. Folly Lane.
Well, I mean, just there, it's we've taken the lead on finding out what the problem is.
Yeah.
once we know, then it may be that another lead agency comes in. But yes, at the moment, we lead on that one.
Okay, that's fair enough. Folly Lane.
Yes, I've done a site visit and sort of had a look trying to get my head around where the issues sort of link into this. And there is a local resident was taking some action to improve the drainage. And I have sort of spoken to her about that. I've had no further reports, although I haven't followed up with that resident, so I'm not sure what the conclusion was to that. I don't know if anybody's aware of any further issues in that area.
I know that as we go along Hockley, there are a lot of subterranean streams. I mean, a lot of subterranean streams, as well as the overland streams that run through the district. And I mean, one of the things that actually gives a possible clue to flooding is pond chase. I think the word pond might be a clue as to why there could be some problems in the area. But I think there's a lot of, subterranean streams that run through which pop up as ponds and various other things that when we've had development, and this is another problem, we're not completely aware of all these underground streams. They haven't been mapped properly. That's another problem. Maybe we need an expert to come in, but a lot of the mapping has disappeared. I know some of the ancient mapping does show it, but we do realise that, we are pretty ignorant in places when we're agreeing to some developments that we don't realise that we're on top of an aquifer, which is a problem. And that's something, again, Plumborough Avenue, this is a problem that's occurred here. Any updates on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, just to sort of finish off, well, in fact, to sort of pick up on the comment that you've made there on both of those.
Yes.
Certainly, there was a project being run by Essex County Council to map all these sort of ditches and drains and everything else. That project is sort of fell off because of change of staff and things, but they're looking to sort of reignite that a little bit and sort of encourage activities to then feed in so that there is a central electronic map on a geographic information system to map all these things. So hopefully that is something that if that project is reignited, that we can start feeding into and start sort of picking up information and trying to get it in somewhere that we can refer to.
I've got Dave Chapman here. You're going to add to this, Dave?
Yeah, so Jeff is right. There was a Where Does Water Go project that was run a few years back where we encouraged parish councils, anybody that had a knowledge or an interest in an area. We provided information packs for people to go out and record in assets and information, pass it back to us. It would be then digitized so we could keep a copy of those. That is being brought back to life. So there is a willingness from us to do that again. If there are interested parish councils, individuals, charities, flood action groups that want to take part in that already haven't, then contact Essex County Council. I can put the email address in the chat if that's easier for everyone, and then just contact us as and when they'd like to sort of re-engage with us on that.
Dave, can I just ask, have you or have anybody there contacted the records office at all?
With regards to
mapping, old maps.
So we do, where we look at site specific requirements where we've got a request in or we've got an interest or an inquiry, we will contact them as and when we need to. We will also do background checks on history and old maps online, things like that. We also have public rights of way, Essex highways that we can contact as well. So we do them on a site specific basis, but yes, we do that.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. Mike, you want to come in?
Yes, just picking up on what Dave said about information going out to parish councillors. Speaking of the parish council, I can't recall receiving anything in our particular parish council. So perhaps we should suggest that this is sent out to parish councils. and just to get them back online with it.
Yeah, just historical knowledge. Thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, if you could do that, David, that would be really good. Okay, moving on, Jeff. Westminster Drive.
Yeah, Westminster Drive. Yeah, the Rochford District Council have taken responsibility on that one. Contractor's been appointed to undertake the work. Yeah, we're just waiting for a date for that.
Christine, you happy with that?
Not really. I was hoping there'd be more positive information because the resident contacted me, I think it was about a week ago, and that they had been advised the work would be completed in October. And at that time it hadn't been done. We're now midway through November. I was hoping that we'd have a more up-to-date report because if it was been delayed, we want to know why and when, because obviously flooding is more likely to occur in these coming months. So perhaps Jeff could find out if that's been done.
Yeah, Jeff.
We're going to have to date because I need to feed back to the resident. I mean, that this has been going on for some considerable time. Thank
Jeff,
you.
I am absolutely wondering if this is the same problem that I'm incurring, having with Adam saying to me, with the changes over with highways and the rangers, and they need to know everything that's going on, everybody who's doing whatever, that we were able to manage just as we did. This has all changed and they have to have an audit on everything. I wonder if that's holding it back, and the insurance issues that he raised. This is why Nobles Green and the other items are being held back because of this. If you can check on that, please.
My understanding from the resident was purely that the contractor just decided for reasons unknown to delay the work, but I don't know why, I'm afraid.
I would say we need to get to the bottom of this in regards and get this sorted out, because I'm sorry, we can't have this constant changes. We've got an arrangement that was in, and all of a sudden it all changes because Essex wanted it to change to something else, and it's really, how can I put it, mucked up what was a very good working system. So, Jeff, we need to put that one down and we need to clarify that completely, because this is ridiculous. We can't have this.
Yeah, I will clarify that one, but I think in this case, this one is not one relating to the work that Adam does, but is purely an asset management. Have appointed a contractor.
Okay.
So I don't think that's affected by the same issues that you've highlighted there, but I will follow up on that one.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
I agree with that, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving to Holbridge.
Yeah, Watery Lane. I mean, as is down there, the comment that I've got through from Highways.
Yeah.
Their last visit, they last attended on the 11th of the 7th.
Yeah.
And did a substantially cleansed, and they're sort of continuing to monitor and reattend as required. And they will do another preventative cleanse again next year. So they've sort of upped the sort of maintenance schedule on Watery Lane. I mean, we accept that because of its situation is going to flood, but they're just trying to improve the maintenance on the drainage there so that it clears quicker each time.
Okay, so they have got a regular maintenance system that they've now put in place, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, keep that one monitored, make sure that they do actually do it. Going on to Mallions, I do have knowledge of this one. I'm sure Stuart has. I've been out there to see what it was all about. You got lead agency empty again on that one. Would that be Anglian Water?
Well, there the conclusion that we drew was that it was nothing to do with the drainage from new development or anything like that.
No, it wasn't. Correct.
It was down to sort of maintenance by residents of a ditch that that sort of run along the back of their gardens, which a number had filled in, was really what it came down to.
Yeah, yeah. Anything to add, Stuart, on that one? Because it's your bailiwick.
No, I mean, it's definitely not coming off of the new development, and that is what Jeff's just said is my understanding as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stuart. Okay, the dome.
Yes, I mean, really, we working with the lead local flood authority, we sort of reported back on that in terms of sort of what the issues were and responsibilities, working with the sort of Environment Agency and others so that we could sort of fully understand what the issues and the risks were there. And there was a separate report sort of back on that. We have asked, although it's a landowner responsibility, they're proving difficult to sort of trace and get some response from. So we have asked the people who maintain the two sites, the two caravan sites there, if they will help. And certainly I noticed when I went past the other day that the main ditch along the front of the site has now been cleared. And sort of pardon me, some substantial maintenance has been done there. The Highways Agency comment that they've again, their cyclical crew go around and do maintenance on there. It's been a while since they've done some, but it, there was no problems with their assets there. That was sort of working. I mean, really on that one, there's no sort of further particular action that is being proposed. There were questions on things like the where the water drains through the cedar fences and things like that, but that although there were concerns there by sort of residents and things, that was checked and found to be working fine.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Going on to Holbridge Road, opposite Lubbard's Farm.
We're still really although at some stage that has been reported as an issue, we've asked for further information on exactly what the issues were and where the flooding's occurring, and have not got back any comments yet. So we're not aware of any particular issues there unless anybody has further information.
Okay, no, I see no hands. Okay, Grassmere Avenue and the drive.
Again, this was another one where it's the ditch runs along gardens, and it was a sort of maintenance issue for local residents. But as a gesture of goodwill, Rochford District Council came in and did that.
Okay.
And we've heard no further reports.
Right, Kingsman Farm Road.
Again, asking for further information and reports on what the actual issues are there, and nothing's been reported.
Okay, Stuart, can you help us on that one?
No, is it, Jeff, is this where the existing caravan park is at Halcyon, where they're putting in the new caravans there?
Well, I'm really not clear, which is why I sort of asked for further information of where the flooding issues were. And nobody seems to know.
Yeah, I mean, I think potentially there was a new culvert put in there, and as far as I know, there's been no flooding down there.
Yeah, it could well be that events have overtaken, because I picked up when I sort of came into helping with this, I tried to pick up some of the historic issues so that we had this list all in one place that we could refer to. But some of the historic information I was picking up on was less than helpful. So it could well be that events have overtaken this one. Okay, thanks a lot for that. Thank you, Stuart. Moving on to Rayleigh. First item, Boston Avenue culvert. I know this is a sanctuary housing item. I think that's Rorath, isn't it? It's your bailiwick, isn't it, Chris?
Yes, Ian. First of all, can I say a few words to David Chapman on the works that he is progressing with at Rorath? Very admirable.
He's Are you listening, David? I think Chris wants to chat with you.
No, I don't want to chat. I just want to say that he's doing a very good job there. Unfortunately, the weather is against him at the moment to finish it off. But nevertheless, the works that are being done are very admirable. Thank you very much, David. With relation to some of the other things that are around our or my district, my ward, we've got.
Can we stick with the agenda, and we'll come to it in a minute? Is that okay, Chris?
Yes, that's fine. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, fine, lovely. Okay, so Boston Avenue culvert, it's being looked into. Is that right?
Well, the concern there was maintenance of the stream coming into the culvert and the culvert. We tied that down to the culvert and the surrounding areas' responsibility of sanctuary housing.
Yeah,
we've made contact with them. They've said there is a sort of maintenance schedule which they have to agree with the sort of environment agency, and can only do it at certain times of the years and things like that. So it was growing up over the summer, but that was intentional. I mean, no further action is sort of proposed there now that we've tied down where the responsibility is. And if there are any particular concerns, then they can be referred through to sanctuary housing.
Okay, that's good.
Ian, can I just interrupt you there, please? With the Boston Avenue, I know that we've been in contact with sanctuary housing, but it's beyond that their jurisdiction is. That where it does tend to back up. And I wonder if anything can be done beyond the sanctuary housing region is. Would
the Diamond Close issue, which would seem to be related to a bank slip, have anything to do with that, Chris or Jeff?
It could very well be. Could very well be. I mean, I know there is. I know that I've been down there myself to have a look, and I mean, I'm no expert, as you can understand, but there are problems beyond sanctuary's jurisdiction. Yes.
Okay. Towards that end, I mean, obviously we've got the original developers, Bellway. Anything on Diamond Close at all, Jeff, that you've been able to get information on, please?
Yes, this is again been trying to sort of track down responsibilities and all the links and things there. The discussions are now taking place between the landowners, which is Kingley Grange, which is sort of it's like a sort of local residents association. Who obviously are not really in a position to undertake some of this work. So they're talking with Bellway, who are the original developers, and they're trying to come to some sort of agreement between them as to what can be done and who can do it and who pays for it and all this sort of thing. So really sort of ongoing discussions on that one.
Thank you.
Ian, I know Bellway have sort of done a little in the way of fencing it off, making it safe and what have you, but nevertheless, I do understand what Jeff is saying, and that the residents seem to think that this is their sort of under management contract that they should be doing, but you know, that's where the differences of opinion are.
I know. I understand that totally. Again, it's responsibilities, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, Grove Road.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, this is Anglian Water. I know what it is, the pumping. I mean, this is a big problem where Grove Road and houses got flooded in 2013, and there is a lack of capacity, which I believe has been acknowledged the whole way through. There should be a new pumping model or a new pumping section to actually, because they're not going to put in new pipes to increase the capacity, but they want to try and increase the flow, is what I understand. Any update, because I was told it was 2020, then 2021, 2022. We've nearly finished 2022 and nothing still happened. Anything at all, Jeff?
No, I must admit I'm unsighted on this one. I would normally ask for an update before the meeting, but I seem to have missed this one. I'll ask for an update from Anglian Water.
Yeah, Mark Francois was chasing this one a long time ago and had a word with them. You know, this was promised 2021 and then it went to 2022. We've now nearly finished that. So, you know, if you can look into that, be much obliged.
That one, Ian, is about 5 or 6 years old, isn't it?
It is. Well, it went back to the flooding of 2013, Chris.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another thing, another one that is in ancient books.
Yeah. Again, it's one that I've sort of carried forward from the old notes.
Yeah.
So that it's sort of captured, but I'll try and get something more up to date on that.
Yeah, I think it's important that where Rayleigh Hills, and it is Rayleigh Hills, because you've got the Eastwood Road, which is a high point, and then it dips all the way down as it goes down Clarence into Grove Road. Grove Road is basically the lower level. It's one of the lower levels, and unfortunately everything falls down to there. And of course the capacity is over capacity now. So that's the problem with that particular area. They know what it is. They know what they need to do. They're just not doing it at the moment. Anyway, if we can carry on, I believe it's Rorath. I think this was London Road, Church Road.
Yes, and that was the comments that Councillor Stanley was making.
It's all the same, isn't it?
Yeah, the sort of progress on there. The discussions with the Rorath Flood Action Group, basically we've agreed a way forward for sort of short, medium, and long-term improvements, some of which are sort of already underway for the short term. So yes, good progress on that one.
That's excellent. Swain Park.
Come in there, Ian, and
of course you can, Chris. Yeah, go on.
Thank you. Yeah, just to mention that we are looking at 1895 floodplains plans of watercourses. Obviously, since then, 1895, obviously it's been built up since then, and there are obviously viaducts and other subterranean areas where it's been built over, and now we've got to try and find a way around those areas which have been built onto. So,
Chris, would you be so kind as to send that information to David Chapman, please?
I was just going to say that I could send that off to him as his Essex. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for that, Chris. Very useful. Swain Park, Jeff.
Yeah, the last information I had was in September, where the drains were actually in the process of being installed. So I guess that's a question of monitor that over the winter and see how effective that is.
That's great. Eastwood Road. Eastwood Rise. Oh, this is, well, I've been dealing with this since 2000. Well, I knew it all started in 2008. I had to pick it up in 2014. This is a big problem. We're going to need some help on this, because there are documents from Essex County Council when the work was done, stating that the works would be done up to adoptable standard. That's what was promised. There is an issue going on with Essex County Council legal team. The original documents that I was able to share with Sean Scrutton when we brought this up originally, he sent them to Essex County Council, and they have lost the documents. Very sad, this. I've been able to contact a resident who has a full record, but he hasn't let me have the document yet, which actually states that very point, that it was going to be made up to adoptable standard. They did put a lot of money into this, a lot of residents. That was the promise, that this work was going to be done. Essex does not clear the drains. There's no lighting. There's nothing there. It's pretty lousy in the area. The drainage is shocking. So now there's a big problem here, which I'm aware of, Jeff, probably more than you are.
Yes.
and again, I think this is, as it says, Essex County Council legal team. This is a legal wrangle of admitting liability for work that they've done and not actually doing what they said they would do. And until I can retrieve or get the original paperwork, which unfortunately has been lost, we're getting nowhere. So I think I've covered that one.
I think I have, and I'll update some notes so that that's captured
Please.
on there for the future.
That's a bit of a mess at the moment.
I'm going to jump in here again. Could we have a document of outstanding long-term problems that have arisen out of today's program of what we've done, what we've been talking about? Because it seems to me that there's too many, and they seem to be sort of left on the back burner all the time.
Look, Chris, Christine brought this exact point at the last meeting in the minutes. We've actually going to correct that to make sure that where we see an issue, we will put it, literally date it from first actual recorded mention of it. So yeah, thank you for reiterating that, Chris. Thank you.
Sorry, I mentioned it. Sorry.
No problem at all. Hockley Road. So this is Rayleigh Hockley Road, and that's opposite the cemetery. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a sort of report of flooding there. The highways have not had anything reported. I've not had anything reported since. I've been and had a look at it. I mean, unless anybody's aware of any particular issues around there and can give us some details, we've not really got anything to work on that one.
Well, the issues occur a little bit further down, actually, going towards Hambro Hill. Yeah, they tend to go that way, where the water tends to miss the drain and goes into people's front gardens. That tends to be, and I've seen it actually happen, and they've had to have sandbags there to protect themselves. I think this, again, is an ongoing issue. For as long as I can remember, we've had the flood forum, and I think you've heard that as well, Chris, haven't you?
Yes, they've actually put in the drains on the curb. I don't know what you quite call that, perforated curbs or whatever you like to call it, and that does happen. I would say that we had the drains cleared at the top of the Hockley Road as you rise up into Hockley. The drains were cleared there only about 3 weeks ago now, and the drains, as far as I was aware, we had them cleared at the cemetery last year or maybe the year before. It goes so quickly, and there is no problem there at that cemetery point, if you like, across Victoria. Where have you? But yes, you are right. There are problems where the water actually pours down off of the hill, and it's coming down at such a torrent. Unfortunately, it rises over the curb and straight into people's front gardens.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can divert it or anything like that. I haven't a clue.
I think it's the slope of the road. Unfortunately, it falls towards the gardens and away from the drainage. It's just the way it's constructed. It's just one of those things. Unfortunately, I think they've been looking into it for a long time. If you can just keep that one on the go, so we're constantly looking at it. Roger, welcome. Nice to see you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was at a meeting, another meeting.
It's all right. We've saved up a bit. Don't worry, we've saved up a few things for you. So, you know.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're pleased about
that. Thank you.
So Hockley Road, we're no further forward on that one then, Jeff. Yeah.
No, but I'll I'll make a more sort of accurate note of what the issues are, and this is sort of part of the process is sort of finding out and defining what the issues are, so that we can then share that more accurately with partners.
Can I just point out to you, Jeff, that a drain has been completely, what was a drain on the Hambro Hill side is now defunct. It's been taken out of commission and been tarmacked over. I wonder if, yes, you're quite right there, Ian, to pull that face, because I was quite surprised myself. Obviously, the drain didn't work, so they just tarmacked over it, blocked it completely. And could we have anything done about that, Jeff, in the way of highways looking at those problems of drainage on Hambro Hill?
So that's located actually on Hambro Hill, or is that still on Hockley Road?
No, that's on Hambro Hill, where the water actually comes down, you know, off the hill and comes down into the gully. I think
so that would come down to Hambro Hill. So where we're up, sort of adjacent to the Lambricks, and then comes down after the Lambricks. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Okay.
So if we can position that one, that would be handy. Victoria Road, Swain Court.
Yeah. Where are we? Sorry, just looking at this. Yeah, so there's I'm trying to sort of understand as far as I can the whole sort of area, because obviously the main problem is the fact it's a low-lying area and the water all sort of ends up there.
This is all part of the London Road river, where I've seen it as a river. You might as well have had a boat down there at one time. I've never seen anything like it. And of course, Victoria Road comes off of that. So it is low-lying. I mean, and again, I think what would be helpful with Chris and these older maps, just to give a good idea, because the water will always flow towards its original source, and it will always try to find its source. So it could be handy. It might enlarge our thinking, and especially if we're getting an expert. I'm not saying you're not, Jeff, but saying,
oh no, I'm not.
I'm just saying someone in who really does understand these things a wee bit better, who can help us to really nail down what we need to do if we can do things. Yeah. So
I was just going to say there, Ian, we've got streams, underground streams in Roy Lane, underground streams in Victoria, and as you was rightly pointed out, off of London Road, they all dive underground and come up sort of towards Sanctuary and Cheapside West. Oh, it's just unbelievable what there is.
Yeah. So I think that would help Dave Chapman with regard to trying to get this, to get a better understanding of what, all these various tributaries and streams are. That would be very helpful. Yeah, thanks a lot. So if we were to look at that, we say it's related to the topography. I think we need to sort of keep this one on the front burner, so that when we actually get a better investigative point in, and I wonder, Roger as well from environment, I mean, how much, you need to be able to see where some of these streams are. Would it be useful if some of these original maps and streams are also shared with you, Roger?
Yes, I can certainly have a look, Ian. Yeah.
Because again, I mean, you really do need to know where they're coming from, where they're going to, and the impact they're going to have. Because again, if we're looking at our local plan, I think this is going to come very much to the forefront of understanding where we need to plan, what we need to mitigate, and try to understand where the problems are, and we don't cause more problems for ourselves in our local and our new plans. So that would be very handy. Roger, we need to, knit things together as best we can. Yeah?
Yep, okay.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Roger. Windsor Way. I think, that was where we got the gullies block drain. I think this has always been a problem which goes down Grove Road.
Yeah, and
The sunken
the
area.
I think it's been cleared. No defects were sort of reported. I think we're just waiting to see if there are any further issues on that one.
Okay, and I believe I'm just going to want to note a thank you from Cheryl, who asked me to thank Anglian Water in regards to the Grove Road Tudor Close, which is all the same. It's around Windsor Way and such like. It's all off of there for the work they've done in clearing stuff in the gullies. So if you can just make a note on that one, please.
Okay. So
okay, moving on to Rochford and Sutton Road.
Yes, if I can come in on that, Ian.
Yeah, of course you can, Mike.
Yeah, I'm still not happy with the report on the issue there. This issue was Essex County Council forced the landowner to do this particular ditch, which he did at great expense, and it is a pretty big and deep ditch. I've jokingly referred to it as a canal, but it's up to that sort of standard. The issue is that there is no outfall for that through the wall, which is right up adjacent to, and the ditch runs right along the edge of the road, and cars quite regularly go over the curb there. If the vehicle goes into that ditch, it is deep enough to sink a car. With the amount of water that it holds, it could cause a problem. I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep on about this. It needs an outfall from that ditch into the river. It's the River Roach. I would suggest that it needs to go under the road and picks up on the culvert that feeds into the river on the other side of the road. That's probably the easiest way to do it, rather than go through the sea wall. So sorry, but no further action. There does need to be further action to make that safe. It is not safe as it stands. You've only got to look at the curbs along that edge of the road. You can see they've all been dislodged in the last year since they put them back again.
Okay. I can certainly note that and pass that sort of comment on to highways and see if they have any further comment.
That's another one, Mike, that's been going on for years.
It is. It has been going on for considerable time. And they've done surveys along there about where the drains go, and the drains on the gullies on the road run into this ditch.
Run to it. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So
it fills up all the time.
Exactly. It's full of water 24/7.
Okay.
If I move on, Ian, the Hall Road development, there is ongoing discussions with the developer with regards to the drainage there. There are still some issues, particularly for the properties that run along the edge of the Hall Road development in Oak Road. And that's where I picked up earlier on that culvert that goes under Well Lane.
Mike, can you just hang on a second? I just want to quickly go back to the Sutton Road. Roger, if you would just be so kind as to have a look at that from an Environment Agency point of view, just to see what the connectivity is with that flooding, with the ditch that is there, does it, and if it's anything to do with the Roach and the connectivity with the Roach, can you kind of work with Essex Highways to give your view on, is there anything that needs to be done or can be advised from your side? Could you pick that up, please, Roger?
I'm not clear in what you want me to do there.
Well,
Ian, if I could come in there, can I suggest that Roger and I get together offline on this particular point?
Yeah.
so I can explain to him in greater detail.
Okay, if you could speak to Mike Steptoe, or Mike Steptoe speaks to you with regard, because I think there seems to be some connection. If it's into the Roach, which is basically environmental responsibility, there may be a case that they may say there's engineering required to actually relieve this. So there may be monies or grants available one way or another to actually get this damn job done. So I don't know, but let's look into it. Let's see if we can actually get some action to actually find a cure for it, because it's been ongoing too long. Sorry, Mike, do you want to go back to Hall Road? If you just take a note of that, please, Jeff.
Yeah, I have done.
Lovely. Go on, Mike.
At that point there, just a note, it is tidal that on the other side of the seawall. Right, yes, with the Hall Road, I did pick up on it earlier on. I'm still trying to identify who is responsible for the missing sluice gate, where the culvert runs out under Ironwell Lane into the other contributory to the Roach. That's still ongoing. The flap is missing, so the water could back up through the system. So that's a concern there. Again, with the Rochford 100 Golf Club, that all feeds into the same point with the streams. That's another tributary to the Roach.
Yeah,
it all feeds into there. So I don't know if there's any update on that, Jeff.
No, I mean, really, as you say, that all links together. In terms of the Rochford 100 Golf Club, the flooding there, I mean, that could potentially be part of the solution rather than a problem, as looking at the whole of the Hawkwell Brook. But as I was saying earlier, it needs somebody with a more relevant knowledge than I have to sort of bring that project together and look at that. But as I say, it could be a water storage on the golf course, could be a possible benefit rather than a problem.
I think technically the golf course is the floodplain of that area, but of course you've got to be careful there how far that goes. That will lead straight into the end of the runway at Southend Airport.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. West Street.
West Street, yes, there has been an ongoing problem along the back edge of the path in West Street, the pavement. There is like well, I won't call it a gully, it's not deep enough to be a gully, but there's a shaping in the pavement that is supposed to direct the water away from the doorways. It doesn't work in high rain volume areas, and basically the water just goes in through the front doors. So I think there still needs to be some work done there to improve that way that water is taken away from the properties. The pavement itself tips back towards the properties. It needs to be reprofiled so it tips towards the road.
Yeah, thank you, David. I understand you've got to go. Now, is there anything in place that we can make higher curbs? I know some areas, because of flooding, they've solved the problem-ish by making the curbs higher. No,
sorry to interrupt you, Ian. In this case, it needs to be the opposite way. The curb needs to be lowered to enable the water on the pavement to run onto the road.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thanks for that, Mike. Okay, moving on to the wakerings.
Yeah.
I'm sure Councillor McPherson will pick up on this, but I will pick up on one particular item in the High Street Great Wakering. There is a property, row of properties roughly opposite the old school, where the front doors are right up on the pavement. There is no, in fact, the door steps go onto the pavement.
Yeah.
There is a dip in the road there where water collects. It does drain away reasonably quickly, but that's not the problem. Because it's quite a large puddle, what happens is the vehicles come through, splash the water up, and it goes straight through the front doors of the listed buildings. When the puddle is there, in effect, the residents cannot use their front door.
Yeah, no. That's
there's no hallway. The front door leads straight into the lounge.
Yeah,
That is probably. What needs to happen there is that the road needs to be reprofiled so the water runs away to the gullies a lot quicker.
Okay. So, Jeff, you've heard that problem. Joe, what do you want to add to it, darling?
Oh yeah, quite a bit. Okay, just so that Jeff can pinpoint the exact area of some of it's opposite, as Councillor Steptoe just pointed out, the old school. It's between number 73, is it that I said, Mike? 73?
Yes, it's 71 or 73. I can't remember the exact number.
Yeah, 73 to about 83. So there is quite a dip where they flood. Now, the other one, which is the one that's here on the document, those, unless I'm wrong, Jeff, you met with the landowners in August for them to start work in September. Where are we now? Have we got a date?
No, I did try and follow up with them before this meeting, but didn't get a reply. So I'll have to follow up with them. They couldn't do it before September.
Yeah, we knew that.
But yes, they haven't given me a date or notified me of anything they're doing. As I said, I tried to chase up, but couldn't get hold of anybody.
Okay. Can I put something forward, and Chairman, perhaps you can take this up. If the landowners aren't doing this within the next, say, 6 weeks, because I'm sorry, look at the weather out there now, and it's only going to get worse, can we take action and then bill them retrospectively for the work? Because you can see what the weather's like today. If anything, it's getting worse.
Okay, Joe.
Deadly silence.
No, not from me. As far as I'm concerned, there's so many different things that are going on that we need to understand what should be done and what isn't being done. If we can look into that. And Andrew, if I can just bring you in on this one, I know this could be a legal issue, but if we do work and then we retrospectively bill the responsible person because they haven't done the work, can you look at the implications on that? And that is, if we can, yes, we will. And if there are problems, then we have to understand the problems. Thank you very much for that, Joe. But, there's a lot of this stuff that goes on that gets left, we're leaving it. And if we decide to take the bull by the horns and say, right, okay, if you don't do it, we're going to do it, and we will put our people in there to do it, and you'll get billed. Are you happy with that? And if they're happy with that, that's fine. The work gets done and they pay for it.
Yeah, okay. So if that can be done as a matter of urgency, and somebody let me know so I can advise our residents. Also, the junction of the High Street and Little Waking Road, there's a roundabout there. As Mike Septoe will know, when it rains, it floods there. Now, what we have had recently is a house that had a very large garden has actually made a substantial driveway now. So it's only going to make the situation worse. I'm just waiting to see this happen. What, if anything, can we do as a local authority about this? I was under the understanding if it was non-porous, there should be some sort of planning consent, perhaps soak aways put in. And is this something that we could investigate further as the Flood Forum? Because I can only foresee this problem getting worse as more and more people are putting their cars on their driveways.
And this is a planning issue, yeah, as opposed to a flooding issue. Although used to both, yeah, okay.
Hand in hand.
Yeah, okay. Jeff, if you can just make a note on that to see exactly what they've done and how they're going to go about it. If you can manage that one, please, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, if I can make a sort of couple of comments on some of those. Just to finish off on the West Street one, there was a comment from the Highways Agency. They have sent an ad hoc team out and done sort of cleaning of all the drains. So it should all work as it should. So it'd be interesting to hear if there are still further problems, which is quite likely. I agree, given the way that the pavements are facing. But we can feedback on that.
May I just come in on that? What doesn't help is when they do come out, clean all the drains, absolutely perfect, and then you've got one of our utilities out, where I have to shout from my car as I'm waiting at the traffic light, please don't sweep all that muck and concrete down the drain.
Okay.
Yeah, we have mentioned that previously to highways. In terms of legal action, for where maintenance is required on ditches and things like that, there are yes, there is. You can take legal action, and you can do, as you say, undertake the work and then charge the landowners. We don't really have anybody in the council who is able to do that at the moment, and I think it does get very difficult, very complicated, and is my understanding is it's very, very rarely done.
Okay.
Although the lead local flood authority could assist us with that, if we wanted to sort of go on that route.
Okay, so can I just?
Ian, if I could come in on that.
Hang on, Mike. Hang on. We've got Andrew here. I think Andrew can take this bit back to see where we go. Go on, Mike.
I was going to say, I believe this has come up before in very early days of the Flood Forum, that the responsibility of issuing enforcement notice, let's call it that, is the responsibility of county rather than district.
Yeah, I think that was the case. I do remember that being said, but I think we need to readdress this because I'm afraid county doesn't do very much, it would seem at times, with all due respect. And so if there is something that we can do from our end to be a wee bit more proactive, I think you've got to agree that it would be better if we could go about it that way. So it might be worth looking into to see what we can do, because it's sometimes not so easy getting county to do stuff. Although
I would suggest that perhaps it's a matter to be taken up with the portfolio holder, which in this case is Councillor Lee Scott.
Yeah. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
Ian,
Jeff. Yes. Yes, Chris.
Jump in here with that driveway. I do believe it is a planning issue, and they should ask for planning permission for that driveway to be erected. I've had one in my own ward where the driveway was not permeable, and they did not put any subsequent drainage in for that, and they had to take it. I sent our enforcement team over. They checked it, made sure that they was putting in drainage for that driveway, so that is enforceable. Yes.
Okay, Joe, if you can just send an email to me and to enforcement in regards to that one, and we'll see if we can do this on a different route. Okay.
Would it be an idea to wait until we have an enforcement officer that has the time?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but no, we will see what we can do. We can only see what we can do. I think Andrew is listening very intently to all these conversations to see, because we do need to upgrade our enforcement to have more officers out there, because, well, I believe you're doing ONS as well. So as far as that's concerned, nice to mention that one.
Just as a comment on that one, on drives, it was something I asked about just to sort of help understand it. And the off the top of my head, I think it's anything over 50 square meters as a drive should be put in with, should ask for planning permission and should put in a permeable surface.
You're correct, Jeff.
But I understand from the lead local flood authority that I don't think anybody within Essex has ever sort of enforced that.
Okay, well, there's always
Ian, could I just ask a question around that?
Of course.
If it's an existing driveway and the driveway is upgraded, does that still apply?
Yeah, it's a new driveway. From what I understand from our enforcement team.
That's interesting.
Anyway, let's move back into the flood area. If we can go on to Barling Road near the old shoulder stick.
That, to my knowledge, has now been resolved. I've not had any further issues from that particular point. There's been some resurfacing by the road there, so the profiles of the road are not better. And the various landowners have made improvements around there. So I think at this stage, I think we could probably let that one drop off the system.
Okay, have you got that one, Veronica? That can disappear. Okay, Kimberley Road.
Kimberley Road. This is an interesting one. I think Councillor McPherson will want to come in on this as well. Where the watercourse runs underneath a small driveway under the sea wall, there is a grill there. Now the end of Kimberley Road, which is adopted by Essex County Council, stops at the stream. So I would question whether Essex County Council is one of the riparian landowners. Certainly as far as that part of the stream is concerned, keeping the undergrowth clear is the responsibility on behalf of Essex by Rochford District Council. So I would question whether there is perhaps a riparian ownership by Essex County Council on making sure that this gully is kept clear and improvements to that side of the seawall. The other side of the seawall has been improved. There's been a new sluice gate put in there, duck build one. It was put in, I can't remember, I think it was Environmental Agency or Anglo Water, I can't remember, wasn't it?
Okay,
it was
Jeff.
It was Environment Agency, Ian. Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed, Roger. Jeff, you taken a note of that on Kimberley Road?
Yes, in fact, we've Roger and I and others did a visit there just to sort of try and understand what was going on there, what was happening. Yes, there is this question around the sort of maintenance and the improvement works to a sort of grill and things like that. Yes, historically, Rochford District Council has done that, but I need to sort of follow up on who and how and what really on that.
Okay, if I could come back in on that point, I think you'll find, Jeff, that the responsibility of that was, from Rochford's point of view, prior to the requirement being handed over to Essex County Council in dealing with flood issues.
Okay, thank you very much.
There was a change in legislation, wasn't there, from district to county council?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike. Okay, so we've got this in hand, so it's going to be maintenance, ongoing maintenance. Yes, Jeff?
Yes, there's a number of sort of issues around that, most of which have seemed to be resolved apart from this ongoing maintenance side of things.
Okay, and can you identify the lead agency again, please? Try to find out who is taking
this is one of these things where it's a different lead.
Is it a joint venture?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, if we could have that down, it does help.
We'll do.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed. Last item, Pointers Lane, Wakering Road.
Just very quickly, I didn't know whether Councillor McPherson wanted to come in on that particular point because it crosses our two wards.
Okay.
I think you've covered everything, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yes, Pointers Lane is the junction of Pointers Lane and Wakering Road.
Yeah.
There were some improvements put in place by the traffic management team. Part of that originally was to look at the improvements to the sight lines coming out of that junction because the ditches there are constantly overgrowing.
This is Tree Fella, isn't it, on that corner?
Well, yes, one side is Tree Fella, the other side is MOD.
Oh,
just to make it easy.
Thank you.
Now, It's more on the side of the MOD side of it, that it is an ongoing, constant problem that the growth coming out of those ditches, firstly, are blocking the ditches and flooding the road, and secondly, blocking the sight lines of that junction. And bearing in mind that Pointers Lane is a 60-mile-an-hour road.
Yeah. I think this is if it's MOD, just a letter to MOD, the riparian owner on that side, to clear their side.
Yes, that would be to Kinetic rather than the MOD.
Kinetic, yeah, I know who, Shoebury and all the rest of it. Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, just want to go back on something with Roger. I think we did make a note, didn't we, Jeff? Well, no, I mean, of course, Roger is environment and not Anglian. So we can't really. Is there anything that we had for Environment Agency, Jeff, that was left over?
I'm just going back through my notes. I think there was something that we thought, oh, we can ask Roger that when he arrives.
Yeah.
What was it? Sorry, going back through my notes, I can't find it now.
Ian, at this point, I'm going to leave. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much indeed, Lorraine. Is there, just before you go, I know you've got a dash, is there anything that you want to comment on at all, or are you happy with everything?
No, it's fine, and I'll let Lee know that there's going to be some comments to come, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lorraine.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
No, I can't find anything. We had something specifically for Anglian Water, which I'll follow up on.
Okay.
I don't think there was anything specific for Roger, but I can ask him subsequently if I find what it was.
Okay. Is there anything, Roger, that you want to put into the forum at all that's upcoming and going that you're looking at within the area that we need to make?
I'm just wondering whether we had an inquiry in about some defences from Andrew St Joseph. It's not that, is it?
I have no knowledge of that. I'm sorry.
No, okay. That's the only other thing I've got in, and also I've had something in from Councillor Cripps.
Oh yes, yeah. Go on.
About where are we? Which I've passed that up. Kingsley Grange.
Yes, we have gone through that one earlier on. Was that the item you were looking for, Jeff? Kingsley Grange? Which is raw.
I think it was, Ian. I think it was. It was the one where we've got the management that are looking into it with Bellway.
Yeah, this is the management company. With Bellway. Yeah.
Yeah. So Councillor Cripps has sent through an inquiry to the EA, which has been logged onto the system and has gone to our operations team for comment.
Okay, all right.
So that's the only other thing. The only thing I'm working on is Dave Chapman and I are still working on the Wick Country Park, slowing the flows upstream of Church Road.
So that's into Rorath. Yeah.
Yeah, we're meeting with some landowners tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
Dave and I, to see whether we can get some further buy-in on that.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
And from what I understand, well, maybe Councillor Stanley can tell me, but they're clearing out the main river down near Church Road Bridge. They're desilting. I don't know whether that work has started. Maybe Councillor Stanley knows.
Yeah, the work, with reference to that, the work has started.
Right.
Unfortunately, the machine that's in there is somewhat excessive in way of its volume, its largeness, and it can't get in to do some of the operations that need to be done. We need to get a smaller machine in.
Okay.
However, from what I understand, there's only going to be 40 metres of clearance to the stream, and we will be looking for a further 75 metres to be cleared to the bend of the river of the Royf Brook, so that it gets down to past the bend, in other words, so that it gets round that and then flows into the Crouch. So
Right.
we will be looking to you, Roger, for that, if you like, authority to do that later on, and that will come after David has done his project in case.
Okay. Yeah.
No, thank you for that. I'm conscious of time, gentlemen.
I was going to say, Ian, that's all I've got, really.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fantastic. Just coming on from that, Andrew's with us today. I just want to I didn't get a chance to introduce him earlier. He's the interim director of People and Governance for both the borough of Brentwood and for RDC for the one team. We're going to have a review of the flood forum and how it works and if we can improve it. There's a few things that I would like to see improved. Christine, you want to come in?
Yes, Ian, I did ask this to be put on the agenda. I'm sure we're all pleased to see that some of the concerns have been alleviated, resolved or concluded. However, following the concerns that I raised about the lack of progress and resolutions in some cases over 12 years, I believe Councillor McPherson actually pointed out one in her area, it was agreed that we would undertake a review which was sent to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee in March. A working group under the Overview and Scrutiny is due to report to them on the terms of reference in December. So this is just to make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on. However, a number of discussions I've had with Councillor Wootton have concluded that the process, the strategy and the governance needs to be refreshed, bearing in mind this forum was set up in 2014, and we want to see an efficient use of the resources that we have to maximise speedy resolutions. We're now approaching the winter with the associated wet weather and greater risk of flooding upon us. And I'm sure we're all aware of the great distress costs that flooding causes. And I'm pleased to inform you that the leader has asked officers to arrange a meeting so that a way forward on how flooding issues are managed and addressed in the district is going to take place, and hopefully this will take place in the very near future, certainly before the end of the year. And I think that's quite positive that we, although we're not a flood authority, we are doing the best we can for our residents in difficult circumstances, and we need to get good cooperation from the other authorities so that the effort that we put in as councillors and the effort that our officers spend is done efficiently. So that's why I asked that to be put on here, just so that everyone could know what was going on. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Christine. I absolutely agree with you. As I was saying earlier on, it's really useful if all the various authorities and utilities that actually service our area are at the meeting, and I really do appreciate the fact that Roger's here. I know it's not easy. Disappointed that Essex Highways were not able to be here, but I believe there were reasons. But I would wish that they would make an effort to come, and Anglian Water, Essex, all the various players within our area need to be in here to be able to actually come back with the follow-ups to questions that are subsequent to the various questions that are going to be asked. And I'm glad that Andrew's here, because I believe, Andrew, you will be involved in this particular review and looking at things. So just quickly over to you.
Yes, I will. So I'm going to be looking at all the governance arrangements across both councils, looking to see, whether how it's actually going at the moment, what needs to be reviewed and what needs to be improved. And with regard to this one, I think Councillor Mason has summed it up very well. We know there's limited resources; they need to be focused. Councillor Ward talked about the need to knit things together earlier on, and I think that's exactly right. And so, I think there's a piece of work to be done to say, right, these are the resources that we've got. What can we actually do? What do we need to focus on to actually make, the difference that's required? And so I'll be looking at that from a governance point of view, but I think also we need the for people such as, as Roger and David and Jeff, so that we can actually talk about the resources that we've actually got as well. So yes, I've got an email from the leader asking me to set to that meeting, and that is what I will do and take things forward.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed. Mike.
Just interrupt you again, Ian. Oh, sorry, Christine.
No, Mike, you've got your hand up. Are you with us, Mike? I'm going to have to move on because we're coming into...
That helps, sorry about that. Yes, the couple of points I wanted to remind members of. One is that there is a meeting of the Essex Flood Forum on the 2nd of December. I shall be in attendance to that as a member of that. Secondly, when there are flooding issues, particularly on the highways, please, members, and it could be any member of the public, can report it. Make sure that it gets reported on the reporting tool. It is important that that is done through the Essex Highways website. And thirdly, I think we need to have a far greater, I'll direct this to Andrew, a far greater understanding on who is responsible for enforcement action over landowners, because we all know landowners will try and duck their responsibilities. Equally as much, I would also add to that, that when legal teams are looking to do the searches for purchases of properties, to make sure that the information for riparian ownership of ditches around properties are highlighted within those searches. I've come across a number of occasions where people have bought a property and do not know they are responsible for the ditch that runs around the outside of their garden.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a very good point there, Mike. Mike, I'm going to have to start winding this session up because I know other members have got meetings to go to. I certainly do very, very shortly. There are no questions from the public, I believe, Veronica. There's none at all. Thank you very, very much. Any other business from anybody? We've got a few minutes. Is there anything else that anybody wants to bring forward here? Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all. Christine.
I would just very quickly like to endorse what Councillor Steptoe said about the searches. I think that's a very, very valid point, and I could assure him that it's not generally done, or it wasn't in the past. So I think that's something that we could certainly improve on. Thank you.
No, thank you, Christine. Right, Jeff and all members, I would like to thank you all for attending. We've got through this within our time limit, which I'm always pleased to see. And so, again, I'd like to thank you all for attending and taking part. And I wish you all a very good day. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you, Ian, for conducting this chairmanship of the Flood Forum. I think it's gone ever so well. And
thank you, Chris.
I would like to see you do it again, if you don't mind, please.
I don't mind. If someone wants to stick me here, I don't mind.
Well, it's another job for you anyway.
Thank you very much indeed.
Goodbye.
Okay, all the best to you. Thank you very much indeed. Bye. Bye-bye.